All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Tofa. Good evening, good morning, and good afternoon, everyone joining us from different parts of the world. I warmly welcome all of you to the Uganda Global Diaspora Engagement webinar series organized by the State House Diaspora Unit. My name is 𝐔𝐠𝐚𝐧𝐝, and I am honored to serve as your moderator of the day today on this important session under the theme Land and Property. And our today's topic is going to mainly be focused on land ownership, title searches, and the red flags that every Ugandan diaspora must know. We all know that land and property ownership remains among the biggest concerns for many Ugandans living abroad. And many of our people continue to face challenges and related to land purchases, title verifications, like family property, succession, powers of attorney, and estate administration, fraud, and putting all that together. Today's webinar is timely and very important because it's going to give us direct access to the right officers who are our professionals in this and the right information. So before we proceed, allow me to sincerely appreciate the leadership of the State House Diaspora Unit headed by Mr. Wagonza Mohammed, deputized by Mr. Wabiona Henry, for creating this important platform that continues to really indeed connect all Ugandans abroad with government offices, technical experts, and reliable giving us reliable information. Also, in the same spirit, allow me to appreciate our host, Dr. Emmanuel Hilary Musoke, who is going to give us an opening remarks on behalf of the diaspora unit, but also not forgetting our behind the scenes team headed by Mr. Tofa, who are going to make sure that this webinar runs smoothly. Mr. Tofa and your team, thank you for your support and thank you for coordinating this, but also thank you for the commitment to the engagement. And that being said, also allow me to as well give at least a few brief housekeeping rules. Can we call them? No, I don't want to use the word rules. Housekeeping points. One, all of our participants, please, I kindly request that you keep your microphones or your microphones, muted during the presentations to avoid at least the background noise. And secondly, I also wish us to request us to allow our speakers to first give their presentations, and after that we shall open the sessions to the Q&As. And then thirdly, when asking your questions, please, this is a kind request, please state your name, the country where you are logging in from, and direct to the question. And because this will help us to give an opportunity to at least a number of us who are logged in here, but also make your question clear. Then lastly, please utilize the chat option to send in your questions. I know I have other people who have sent me questions in my through my WhatsApp, but please also use the chat option to send in your questions, because I want to make sure that our experts here respond to each and every question within the available time. Thank you for your cooperation. And at this point, please, I would like to respectfully welcome Dr. Hilary Musoke, to give his opening remarks on behalf of the diaspora unit. Dr. Hilary Musoke is a distinguished Ugandan agribusiness strategist, a policy advisor, and a national development leader. He currently serves as a senior presidential advisor to His Excellency, the President of Uganda, on agribusiness and value addition development. With extensive expertise in agricultural transformation, value chain development, rural economic empowerment, and strategic policy implementation, Dr. Musoke plays a pivotal role in advancing Uganda's vision for sustainable agribusiness growth, industrialization, and wealth creation. His work focuses on promoting value addition, enhancement, productivity, supporting farmer empowerment, and driving initiatives that strengthen Uganda's agricultural sector as a cornerstone of the national development. Recognized for his commitment to innovation, economic transformation, and service, Dr. Musoke continues to champion strategies that connect agriculture to enterprise, investment, and inclusive social economic progress. Dr. Musoke, we are honored to have you with us today. You're most welcome. Please, the mic is yours. Thank you so much. Over to you, Doctor.
Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to everyone, depending on where you are. I thank you so much, Madam Sylvia Kakyo, for really sparing time and moderate this very, very important session. Dear fellow Ugandans in the diaspora, we are pleased to invite you to our third State House webinar, where we started discussing pertinent issues affecting our people in the diaspora. You are very much aware that this is the third. But first of all, I wish to congratulate you, whoever you are, for having nominated His Excellency into the new government. And currently we have a fully-fledged cabinet in Uganda, headed by His Excellency, the President, 𝐔𝐠𝐚𝐬𝐴, focusing on issues affecting our people in the diaspora, in Europe, USA, Africa, everywhere. Our topic today is about land and property management in Uganda. You are very much aware that land is among the most valuable investments where our diaspora people put a lot of money. However, it has the highest number of disputes, wrangles, and conflicts. It is either caused by our family members, some of them are due to lack of knowledge and information, due to lack of laws and regulations. When you are not aware about your rights as a landowner, how you should own land in Uganda when you are in the diaspora, but it remains a very, very valuable asset in Uganda and Africa. As you people in Europe and America and other countries value gold, for us here in Uganda and Africa, we value land. So our distinguished panelists from the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, and the Office of the Administrator General will address you on most of the pertinent.
Have I lost you, Doctor? Doctor, we have lost you. Doctor, we have lost you.
Hello?
Okay, yes.
I can hear you. What's the problem?
We weren't hearing you.
Can you hear me?
We lost you. Yes, we can hear you now. Go ahead, Doctor. Thank you.
You can hear me. Sorry about that. I think it's network problem. I'm in a different country. Actually, I'm at the airport. Maybe some breakdown of network. However, I was telling our people in the diaspora, they should really ask the Attorney General the Administrator General, they ask the technical people in Ministry of Lands to be guided on when you have your citizenship, when you are still a Ugandan, when you are an American, when you are a British, how do you acquire? How do you protect your land? Because many complaints have come to our office in the diaspora, headed by Mr. Bagonza Muhammad, and these complaints are either family or land grabbers that see that idle land is somewhere, belongs to someone in UK, in German, and then they grab it. So most of the crimes committed on land are due to certain issues that we need to be clear about today on this webinar. I thank you so much, Mr. Tofa Masiko, our liaison officer in the Office of the Diaspora, where I serve as the in charge of strategic partnerships, and the team. I know our IT team in State House, Nakasero, are really there in the office trying to coordinate this. I thank my team, Mr. Bagonza Muhammad, Mr. Wabiona, the deputy, and all other staff for really making this happen. And I request you, our people in the diaspora, bring in your views. Don't be charged with emotions. This is our country. We are supposed to learn from you. We are supposed to hear from you. Diaspora unit is non-partisan. It serves you people the interests. And actually, when we are here in the office in the diaspora, we are also diasporians, because your problems is what makes us be paid by the president. His Excellency strategically and deliberately put up this office to make sure that all your issues can be handled, managed, coordinated with the different government agencies, because we sit at the coordination level, coordinating with Ministry of Lands, coordinating with Ministry of ICT, coordinating with the Ministry of Internal Affairs, all where you belong. We are supposed to coordinate to see that we simplify your work and your stay in the diaspora. We appreciate all the money you bring back as the remittances, and here is to build Uganda, so we can streamline the diaspora by safeguarding your assets, especially the land. I therefore call upon our technical officers from Ministry of Lands, the Administrator General and Attorney General's office, to really carry on this conversation and see how we forge a way forward. I thank you so much, our moderator, for God and my country.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you for your kind opening remarks and for setting the tone for this for today's session. And please allow me, ladies and gentlemen, before I invite in our speakers or our first speaker, allow me invite our technical team headed by Mr. Tofa to play for us a video that will give us a context of today's webinar. Mr. Tofa?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Thank you. Go ahead.
The Ministry of Lands has developed a new app that can provide information on land registration in Uganda. You can get it on both App Store and Play Store by simply typing UGNLIS and download. Click on the menu on the upper right corner to get more information about the app. Read more about us and get to know the terms and conditions. Check out the land transactions available in zonal offices. And this is how you can contact us. Thank you. The Ministry of Lands has developed a new app that can provide information on land registration in Uganda. You can get it on both. The Ministry of Lands has developed a new app that can provide information on land registration in Uganda. You will need an account to conduct searches on titles to parcels in the Ministry of Lands new app, and this is how you can create your account. Open your UGNLIS app and click Create Account at the bottom. Choose the mobile option, country code, followed by your mobile number and submit. Enter the code received by SMS and continue. Create your password and confirm it. Select gender and fill your identity by completing the following items. Identify your document type and your ID. Click continue and your account will be created. Thank you. The Ministry of Lands has developed a new app that can provide information on land registration in Uganda. To conduct a search on a title, you first add credit to your account using mobile money or a credit card. Then select a tenor type and Ministry Zonal Office. From there on, the app will guide you on this case. We are asked to provide the county, block and plot. Finally, you'll be asked to provide your identification details. Once the search is complete, you'll be able to see your title. Thank you. The Ministry of Lands has developed a new app that can provide information on land registration in Uganda. And this is how you credit your account. Sign into your account. Click My Account below, then click Buy Credits. Accept the terms and conditions and define the amount to be recharged. Select your mobile money payment method and fill your email, mobile number, and the TIN. Check your TIN, confirm the payment, and submit. Enter your mobile money PIN to authorize your payment, and your account will be credited. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Tofa. Thank you, the team behind. And indeed, you have made our work very easy with the fact that you have brought all the information at the palm of our hands. So it's up to us, the diaspora. Well, with that, let me proceed to our first technical speaker. Let me find the technical. All right. It is, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to invite Mr. John Bigira, Assistant Commissioner for Lands Registration at Uganda's Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development. Mr. John Bigira, highly accomplished legal professional and public sector leader with over 15 years of distinguished experience in commercial law, land governance, oil and gas, and legal administration. He has built a strong reputation for excellence in legal practice, public service, and regulatory leadership. He holds a Master's of Laws, LLM, from the University of Aberdeen, Scotland, United Kingdom, a Bachelor's of Laws, LLB, from Uganda Christian University, and a Diploma in Legal Practice from Law Development Center, Uganda. As an enrolled advocate for the High Court of Uganda, Mr. Bigira combines advanced legal expertise with extensive practical experience in land registration systems, policy implementation, and institutional governance. In his current role, he plays a critical part in strengthening Uganda's land registration framework and helping the public better understand the process that govern land titles, ownership verification, transfers, and the protection of land interests. Today, Mr. Bigira will guide us on these key issues surrounding land ownership, title searches, land registration, verification processes, and the red flags every Ugandan abroad must know before buying, transferring, or protecting land in Uganda. Mr. Bigira, you're most welcome. The mic is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sylvia. Thank you so much, colleagues, the hosts and panelists. Our audience, I am excited to be part of this discussion, and I look forward to very beneficial, mutual, respectful discussion on the matters concerning land and our people in the diaspora. Indeed, it is an opportunity for us to try to share with the citizens in other parts of the world. They have had a lot of issues. They have had a lot of questions. Many of them have had people cheat them. Others want to invest. And this is one of a kind where we have had to, interact one-on-one And we hope the State House Diaspora Unit will keep many of these engagements to share with our people. I'll do more of the listening and responding, but I want to say this is an opportunity where the ministry can give some clarifications, guidance, and also discuss the innovations that the ministry is undertaking to address their challenges. I thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here to share with you. Over to you, Sylvia.
Thank you. Okay, that is our first speaker, and I will go straight to introduce our second speaker, Mr. Clover Wesaka. Henry, my apologies if I have pronounced your name not in the right way, but it is my honor to invite Mr. Clover Wesaka Henry, Assistant Administrator General in the Office of the Administrator General. Mr. Clover Wesaka is an accomplished legal professional and academic with over 15 years of distinguished service in the Office of Administrator General, where he currently serves as Assistant Administrator General. Throughout his tenure, he has demonstrated extensive expertise in succession law, estate administration, family law, and land transactions within Uganda's administrative framework. In addition to his public service role, Mr. Clover is a part-time lecturer at the Law Development Center, where he teaches family law, practical and land transactions, contributing significantly to the training and mentorship of future legal practitioners. Mr. Clover holds a Master of Laws LLM in International Commercial Law from the University of Salford, a Bachelor's of Law LLB from Makerere University, and a Diploma in Legal Practice from the Law Development Center. His blend of practical legal experience, academic excellency, and public service makes him an excellence and an important resource for Ugandans in the diaspora who are dealing with property, family estates, succession, inheritance, powers of attorney, documentation, and legal safeguards. Today, he will help us understand the legal side of land and property matters, including the red flags as well that we must pay attention to when dealing with the family property, estate, succession, powers of attorney, and inheritance-related issues. Mr. Clover, it is yours, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sylvia, for the kind introduction. And I want to thank the State House Diaspora Unit for organizing this engagement, and especially from the Administrator General's point of view, that this is very timely because of the relationship between land and succession. Because as we all toil and make wealth, we must always pause and think about what will happen when we are not here. And that brings in the aspect of transfer of wealth from generations to generations. Wealth is only worthwhile if it can transcend generations. So the law of succession comes in to act as a bridge between those generations, that how do you have wealth from one generation to another generation. So in this discussion, we shall listen to the diasporans and also share some practical tips. For example, if somebody is in the diaspora and has lost a dear one in Uganda who owns property, or somebody dies in the diaspora but they have property in Uganda. And it is now an increasing trend where Ugandans have property outside Uganda and also property in Uganda, and somebody dies outside Uganda. So those are matters, of course, that at times we don't think about, but we come to grapple with when death strikes. So we are saying that how can we be prepared? Do we have certain things in our control before our demise? So we are dealing with now a global village where people are owning property all over the world. But for example, he or she is Ugandan. And at times it can actually be a foreigner who owns property in Uganda and dies in their foreign country. So those are the delicate conversations that we would want to share this evening with our colleagues, friends in the diaspora. Issues of letters of administration. Recently, there were the president assented to a number of succession laws in 2022 that have started being implemented. Expire of letters of administration, the mandate of the Office of Administrator General. So those are the issues, Livia, that we intend to tackle this evening with our colleagues and friends in the diaspora. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Clover Saka Henry, for that input. And please allow me, I'm going to come back to you. However, I'll go back to Mr. Vijira, our first technical speaker. Mr. Vijira, I want you to come in and share as you know, land issues for us, the diasporas, has become such a huge challenge, being the fact that we live far away from home. Please, I want you to come in and share about the areas of how can we diasporans who own land in Uganda make verification. Also tackle on the issue of properties, and as well as land transaction and the documentation, because all this is in your docket. If you can give us a deep, because I think we have a little bit of time, if you can please go a little bit deep and give us an intro, all the genesis of where you think the diasporans are having all these challenges that are making it hard for us. Thank you so much. The mic is yours.
Thank you so much, Sylvia. Thank you so much, listeners. Now, I will need to take you a little bit the history of land registration in Uganda. The land registration in Uganda started from 1912, and over time, it has been largely manual. It was manual records. Really, we were managing paper and files. But because of the different challenges the government was facing, the population was facing, the government took on a decision to digitize these records. And in 2013, that digitization process was rolled out. I want to report that currently the Ministry of Lands has 22 ministerial zonal office, what we call ministerial zonal office. These, the whole country of Uganda was, ramped up in different districts, and we have 22 ministerial zonal office. One is in Wakiso. Wakiso divided into two. That's Wakiso Chadondo, Wakiso Busiro. So every person owning land in Wakiso district, it's either registered in Wakiso Busiro or Wakiso Chadondo. Then we have Kampala. Kampala, that's a central. It's in Kampala City Council, Kampala Capital City Office premises. That's where our office is. We have an office in Mukono. We have an office in Jinja. We have an office in Mbale. We have an office in Tororo. We have an office in Soroti. We have an office in Moroto. We have an office in Irira. We have an office in Gulu. We have an office in Arua. We have an office in Masindi. We have an office in Bukarasa. Bukarasa, that's in Ruwero. We have an office in Chibale. We have an office in Fort Poto. We have an office in Kabale. We have an office in Rukunjiri. We have an office in Mbarara. We have an office in Masaka, and we have an office in Piji. Then, of course, we have the head office, the Ministry of Land and Housing, where it remains the center of administration. So, any person who owns land, one is able to physically, for those who are in Uganda, to physically visit any of these offices and do a physical search. And then I have said that, of course, all our records are now digitized. For those who are in Uganda, if you don't want to use the digital platforms which we shared earlier, you visit any of these offices, pay 10,000 shillings. Please note, you pay 10,000 shillings to conduct a search. Some searches, if you want, they even avail you the physical file. If you can read and understand the records, they will give you physical file. You know, if it is important for you to view the physical file, it's allowed. But if it's not, the registrar, you know, through the process, prepares for you a search letter to confirm details of ownership. Now, for our colleagues who are in the diaspora, who we are addressing this evening, this morning, this night, this afternoon, we have shared that digital link, which is the online link clearly, which the ministry or the government developed to facilitate the people in diaspora, but also people within who may not want to move. This link is easy. All you have to do is that you should have an account. That's an email. You should have some money on your phone, and it was run. I have seen in the chats here some people saying that sometimes it's not working. It could be once in a while network issues, but it has been a very helpful instrument to help our people, more especially those ones who are not in Uganda, who want to buy, but also the ones who want to verify their own records. You know, time and again, you should also verify your own records. But most importantly, I keep telling people that it's important for us to keep checking the status of our land. That's the Uganda we are living in today. I have my title, yes, but I should also be able to check the status of my land physically. So when we are buying land, we say, okay, now what's the process? One, check the record, do the search from the Ministry of Lands or through the digital platforms that we are sharing, which are running on the screen. Check and be given the information regarding the land. But also, if, for example, you want to purchase, it is advisable that you visit the land you want to buy. Find out who the neighbors are, talk to the leaders of the area, and they'll tell you. Then engage professionals. We have lawyers, we have LOCs, engage them. Now, the people in the diaspora, in most cases, have been victims of what goes on. You buy your land, you go away. 1, 10 years, 3 years, 5 years, nobody's checking it. Now we have people who have of late become a bit advanced. They try to find who owns this land and they try to forge these particulars. So, one, when you're doing a search physically, search in the land office, search through the digital platforms we have given you. Then also find out the details from neighbors and leadership on the land. Then we have photos. We have introduced photos as a mechanism of verifying ownership. Today, all transactions are linked to our NIN, National Identification Number. Okay? Such that now when you are searching, if Vijira gives you a national ID, you can also run and link to see if this the true information that the person is giving. But also involve professionals. We have lawyers, we have valuers, we have surveyors. These are recognized agents. Many of you send money to your relative, do for you searches, they give you wrong information because you do not use professionals who you can follow up to if anything goes wrong. So, yes, we have a duty to provide information, but also seek the right information. And we have given you those platforms through which you can use to get the right information. Thank you, Sylvia.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Vijira, for giving us that communication. And indeed, you have helped us to understand the importance of doing proper due diligence before making any land-related decision. And on behalf of the diaspora and as a moderator, I really appreciate that. I still have you. I have a number of questions here that I just received, and a number of them are related with land administration and reforms. And actually, we'll go ahead and ask this. Someone is asking, what reforms are being undertaken to improve transparency, efficiency in land administration? And then the other question in relation to land administration and reforms, they're asking, is the ministry considering establishment of a diaspora land support desk? How can the ministry collaborate with Ugandan embassies and diaspora associations to improve land security? And indeed, the issue still, a big issue is here, land security. It is a huge red flag. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you, our viewers and listeners. The reforms, the ministry, the government, I don't limit myself to the ministry, but the government is doing a lot to strengthen land tenure security in Uganda. One of the reform is that we are undertaking massive land registration. Currently, the ministry is championing projects to do massive land registration. Really, our target is to have all land in Uganda registered under different tenures, customary, Mairo, freehold. The leases have been there, and we have what we are calling SIRAC, Systematic Land Adjudication and Certification, where we are going massively in the communities and assisting our people to have all their land registered. This is one, to reduce conflicts, two, to also facilitate economic development through investment and etc. on land. Then the other reform we have done is that we are digitizing all our records, land registration, surveys, physical planning, name it. All these are going to be fully digital to encourage transparency. You know, technology has brought in. So I want to tell you that there's even something cooking which we haven't rolled out, but we are even further upping our game by introducing what we call blockchain technology with the use of artificial intelligence. We hope this blockchain is going to clear now the few loopholes we have been having, and the government has seen this. The president has been so emphatic on this, that the blockchain technology in land registration must be implemented like yesterday. So the few things that these new reforms which have come up are the ones which have exposed us to many challenges like double titling, multiple titling, forgeries. So we are also doing legal reforms. Many of our laws really in land registration are old laws, and we are updating them. Some of the issues we have been having is that we have been having obsolete laws, and the ministry is championing the process of updating the laws. This is a key thing. Then the national land policy as a key reform, which recognizes people with their properties and how they should register it. So it's a number of reforms that the ministry is introducing, but technological advancement through digitization, through introduction of the blockchain technology, we think it's going to be a game changer. Now we can tell people who want to title in road reserves, we can tell. People who want to title forest reserves, we can tell. People who are trying to do titles over titles, multiple titles, we can tell. People who are doing specials so all of this is part of the innovation that the ministry is undertaking to address some of the challenges that people are facing. What can we do? What can the government do to support the diaspora? Yes, we have introduced at the ministry. Of course, we have a website which people can access to interact with us, and we have full-time assigned to that. We have a customer center whose job is to pick people's questions every day and respond to them or collect them and share them with the people who are supposed to answer them, just to give answers. But we are also going out to develop synergies with the embassies and consulates, and this is one of them, that we interact with different organs. We have been at UNA to respond to some of these issues, but also if we are invited to give such a communications, we are always available to interact, to share with the public on what we are doing. But also in the ministry, we are now going to seriously implement together with the Office of the President, this diaspora desk, to know their questions, and we can respond to them and to give them key resource persons who can be responding to them all the time and timely. So we are going to work with the embassies and other organizations and the Office of the President to make sure that our people in the diaspora are served timely and adequately. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. And before I give you more questions here, because I say they're sending in more questions as well, rotating from different areas in your ministry. But again, colleagues or participants, allow me again, appreciate the Diaspora State House Diaspora Unit for organizing this indeed timely conversation that is very, very important. Us, please, the diaspora team, kudos to you. I'll keep giving you your flowers as this series continues. Mr. Gira, I have also more questions here rotating from customary and land and family land. Someone is asking, how can the diaspora Ugandans secure ownership rights over customary or clan land? And the other question is, what guidance does the ministry provide in family land disputes involving absentee owners? And also lastly on that is, how can family land boundaries and ownership be formally documented? Over to you.
Okay, thank you. It is a big question. Of course, family, there's no land called family land. It is my family which chooses to hold that land in format. So in Uganda, we have 4 land tenure systems. One of them is Mayro tenure. We have leasehold tenure. We have customary tenure. We have Mayro, lease, freehold, and customary. These, all of them have unique behaviors, if I can call them behaviors. Lease is a contract for a period of time and with clear terms and conditions, and it's normally for a duration, which can be renewed after a certain period of time. So it gives you terms and conditions. If you fulfill, then you can renew. Mayro tenure is one of the oldest tenures we have had in Uganda from the colonial times, and it is common in Uganda and some few parts of Ankole and Toro. These were at the time they were making the 1900 agreements. Now we have the freehold tenure. Freehold tenure is the most spread. It is normally in areas which do not have Mayro, but also in these areas which have Mayro, pieces of land which were not registered at the time are now registered under the freehold tenure. That's ownership in perpetuity anyway. Mayro is ownership in perpetuity. Freehold is ownership in perpetuity. Then customary. This is a unique tenure provided under the law, but mostly it was covering unregistered land. All the land that was not registered was held under customary tenure. This one comes from the customs and practices of particular community. But we also have this customary is in two pieces, two parts. We have customary individual, then we have what we call communal land. It's also customary, but it's communally owned. This is common in northern Uganda, in the Karamoja area. In those areas, their land is really owned customarily. And how have we been doing it in this? We have been issuing titles called Customary Certificates of Ownership, CCO. Customary Certificates of Ownership. When we are registering this title of customary, of course, we go and interact with the community and understand how that within that custom, within that community, land is owned. So we shall include everybody, every member of that family, from the mother, father, children, daughters-in-law, depending on how their custom runs. Okay? But there's this other land which we want to call family land. Family land comes after the demise of the owner who has left a number of children, they may not be many, and a spouse, or who has chosen as him that this land is going to be owned as a family. And when these parents of ours demise, you people in the diaspora are normally left out. I know you are saying, how do we get protected? Okay? So one, if the owner of the land during his lifetime did not register you on that land, it was his land. When he passes, it now becomes family land because he has left it behind, more so if he has not shared it or has no will that shares it. So you guys sit and appoint what we call administrators or administratives or executors if there's a will, who are supposed to take charge of that land in the absence of the owner. Now, the Succession Act was recently amended, which is to the effect that where one is an administrator, one, you have to dispose of that estate within 2 years. But if within 2 years you have not disposed it off, you can ask for extension before your letters expire. But two, all the decisions that administrators take must be with consent of all beneficiaries. Therefore, when one dies and letters of administration are processed, beneficiaries are identified. You do an inventory where the properties are listed and the beneficiaries are listed. So an administrator cannot deal with that property unless all beneficiaries are consulted. Okay? Then, on the other side, where the land is registered under customary tenure, okay, communal tenure, then before disposing it off, also there are steps you take to consult and get consent of all registered or beneficiaries. That's an issue we're having with the Bararo, Uganda, where people had bought some of those communal land or customary land, family customary land, and you find that not all beneficiaries, not all landowners were consulted. So yes, if the land is, I want to approach family land in the perspective of administrators, beneficiaries. Because what is family land? Family land is land we inherit. Okay? So the law has given us a leeway that before, if really I'm one of the family members and I'm a beneficial owner or I'm a beneficiary on that land, then no decision can take place without consulting me. So now also when we are transferring it, when we are mortgaging it, we insist whether you have consent of all other beneficiaries. Then for you who are outside, if you have interest, you put the caveats. I will give you an example of one of the cases which we have been grappling with in Kampala here. Somebody died and left a lot of properties in the areas of Runguja and Runguja, I think in Mengo and elsewhere, where the children were over 25. They had, I think, different mothers. They have administrators. I think they sat and shared. But each time they sell off property, one of them comes and sells. It seems an agreement. Then they pass behind and one of them challenges that sale. We have had to grapple with that family. First of all, they make a lot of accusations. But when you go to investigate deeper, you find that actually it's the family members who sold, and some family members knew and they were in agreement. But again, some other group normally comes up and disowns that kind of transaction. And we are finding it as a problem also. They sell, they receive money, they share, then they disown the transaction. And many people are losing. But it also puts us in a very difficult position. So family land, yes. Family members should be consulted before any decision is taken, as long as there is proof that you are a beneficiary on that piece of land. 2, register your interest. If you're a family member and you want to be consulted before any decision is taken, caveat. Caveat is one of the ways of protecting yourself, because that caveat cannot go off until you are consulted. Thank you. Over to you, Sylvia.
Yeah, thank you so much for that insightful input. And I think I have the last set of questions that are coming in from our listeners as well. But also, I want to encourage all our participants that are on here. I'm going to create enough time for you to send in your questions and also to interact with our technical experts here, because this is about you, this is about me, this is about us. We got the opportunity. We want to utilize it as much as we can. So please send in your questions in the chat, and the team at the diaspora unit, please, if there are questions, kindly put all those questions together, and somebody can share them with me, or as we come to welcome in our speaker. The last set of questions for you rotates around, again, protection. You did mention some, but I'm gonna do about 2 or 3. Somebody's asking, how can the diaspora Ugandans report land grabbing and fraudulent transactions remotely? And then the other question is, what is the ministry doing to address forged land titles and transfers? And I think this is a really, really incredible question. It's a really, really important question, but also a concern, because there is a lot of issues with trust, especially within our systems. And I think so many people have really, really fallen victims. And the last couple of questions, the other question is, what systems has the ministry introduced to reduce and fraud affecting absentee owners? And lastly, how can one confirm whether land is free from disputes, caveats, or double titling? And that will close the end of the session. Over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Sylvia. I want to seek clarification. I'm seeing a lot of questions in the chat.
Yes.
Can I quickly respond to them?
If you can go
allow
ahead.
me.
Yes.
One of them says, do I need to pay to conduct a search through the app? Yes, it's 10,000 shillings, and the process was given, and you pay. You need to pay. You can only access that search online if you have credits on your phone and you pay. What identifications are acceptable? We use national IDs, national identification cards, and passports. Those are the legally recognized instruments of ownership in Uganda, of identity in Uganda. So time and again, we shall ask you for your national ID or the passports. Those are accepted. I have put my question. Let me see. Sylvia, I'm reading these questions. If I do land search, if I do that, if there is a dispute, if there is a dispute, is this the same agency, the one who's responsible to enforce, settle the matter, or it has to go before a different ministry? There are matters we handle at the Ministry of Lands, but there are matters which are beyond us that we normally refer to court. The simple matters that the law has allowed us to handle, we handle them at the ministry. But those particularly involving fraud, please note fraud, those matters are normally for court to decide, because it involves gathering a lot of evidence and etc. investigation, which the police and the courts are supposed to do. Then, with respect, we request the Minister of Lands to issue, land title that clearly indicate physical address instead of relying on plot numbers. Of course, we know, but you see, plot numbers, broken plot, are unique. But now, if you look at the new titles which we are doing, we go ahead. First of all, we cannot register you without your NIN number. We are putting telephone numbers. Then we are putting your village and the town. That if you are talking about Vijira, it should be Vijira of Ministry of Lands, Plot 3 Parliamentary Avenue of telephone X and Y. And we are also aware that in the past, many people, we had a few telephone, box numbers. In the whole village where I come from, maybe there were like 3 or 5, which was owned by an Indian and other people. And you keep using it, but even that owner has gone. So we are trying to put more details. We put the village, we put the telephone number, we put the name, we put the picture. All of this, make sure that we get the right person that we are dealing with. So plots are unique identifier, blocks are unique identifier, road names are unique identifier, but we are putting more information to simplify verification of ownership. Number 2, we request the government to stop charging the 1,000 fees imposed on individual using the land application system. This becomes burdensome. Even the people in Uganda, that one cannot be me to decide, because even the people in Uganda pay the charge fees. And even the people in the diaspora are also paying, but still 1,000 shillings, which you people in the diaspora are doing well, we know you can afford. But you also have to generate revenue for these services to keep running. This is one way your government is getting some money to run and provide services. We further request the government of Uganda to identify land and allocate affordable land or free land designated for Ugandans in diaspora who are willing to back home in agriculture. The government of Uganda has been giving free land, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you. In the industrial parks, government has been identifying land for industrial development in industrial parks, and all of this land is free. So you diaspora people, get in touch with the Uganda Investment Authority and these other agencies. There's free land if you want to invest. If you want to invest, there's free land. It's there. Then, of course, you have to go through the processes and you must qualify. They have criteria, but the free land is there. Then, how safe are condominium title deeds? They are very, very, very safe. Condominium deeds, condominium titles is ownership in space. It is as safe as the other title where it is sitting. So if the ground title, if I can call it the ground title, is properly verified, the condominiums are too safe. However, we have guided that before you invest in condominium properties, ensure that the structure is existing. You know the unit you bought, you know the floor you bought, and you saw the design of the houses you are buying. Because in the past, many people have made mistakes. They bought off plan. And I know that's a complaint. They bought off plan. Then the developer did not what? Develop. But anyway, we have also addressed that. We now no longer issue condominium titles unless the structure is up and existing. So condominium titles are very, very safe. What happens if citizenship of another country? And I have land in Uganda. How did you get citizenship of another country? Because there are two ways. Either you had dual citizenship, or you renounced your citizenship of Uganda to get another citizenship. So if you are holding dual citizenship, your land is okay. You remain with it. If it is not lease, if it is Milo, if it is freehold, if it is whatever, it remains. But if you are renounced Ugandan citizenship and now you have relocated, like many of you have done, you went to UK, America, and etc., became citizens of those countries, but you did not renounce. When we ask for proper documents of identification, you bring an American citizen, an American passport. No, an American citizen cannot own Milo in Uganda, cannot own freehold in Uganda. You can only own a lease. So, colleagues, as you transit to change citizenship, either do it through the formal ways of dual, and if you renounce, also your tenure on request can be now turned into appropriate tenure. From Milo, we can now make it lease, but maybe of a full term. What happens if citizens are not? Let me see. I have. How does one remove a caveat from land where they are living outside Uganda? Caveats are very, very controversial instruments and yet important. to make it a bit simple, a caveat is a padlock. Just the way you lock a house. That nobody should enter this house unless a key or someone has opened for him. Now, the key is when the caveator notifies us formally that the purpose for which I had caveated this land has been resolved. Now you can remove, but we verify. We shall say, Sylvia, because when you are writing, when you are putting a caveat, you made an application and swear also an affidavit, giving grounds, reasons for why you have put that caveat. So when your issues are resolved, you communicate to us, and we normally come and verify whether it's you who has decided to remove it on your own accord without being pushed. And once we are confirmed that it's you, yes. When you are in the diaspora, normally you are supposed to go to a notary public, to notarize that document that it was really you and it was done before an authorized person to do it. But also, it is not an end in itself. You put a caveat for a reason. Okay? Now, there are two caveats. There's a caveat which is me, I can put a caveat on my own land, for my own reason, it's okay. I have my own reason why I put. Then we have caveats of beneficiaries. Those ones cannot be removed. They can only be removed through court and in agreement. Then there is a third-party caveat claiming an interest on someone's land. So time and again, when the owner discovers, because the caveat, the law says any person who claims an interest, that interest must be verified. We normally verify. You, Sylvia, you say you want to put a caveat on Johnson's land. What kind of interest do you claim? It must be a caveat in law. I mean, an interest which has evidence and etc. Now, once that caveat is registered, we are under obligation to notify the owner of that land that the caveat has been put on his property. Now, how do we communicate? At the time when you are registering this land, you give us addresses under which we are supposed to contact you. Unfortunately, many of you change your addresses and you never notify us. So we keep notifying you on the old address that you gave us. Because that's what the law says, that a landowner shall provide address upon which he or she can be contacted. And if you ever change that address, you are supposed to also notify the Ministry of Lands that the box number, now we can see the box number, the email, and the telephone I gave you has changed. In case you want to get to me, reach out to me on this. So, when the landowner receives this notification of caveat, they also apply to us. The law says the landowner can apply to Ministry of Lands to remove that caveat. But what do we do when we remove that caveat? The law requires us to notify the caveat in the 60 days. So we shall notify you that, hello, the registered owner, who is Vijira Johnson, has applied to this office to lapse your caveat. And we tell you that we can only be stopped with a court order. So I said, please note that a caveat is not an end in itself. You put a caveat on land pending resolution of some issues. Now, when we give you notice, and this is where people make mistakes. You put a caveat on someone's land, you fold your hands, and you don't follow up the purpose for which you put that caveat. But anyway, it is registered. Now, if you do not do anything, when the owner applies, we write to you. We give you minimum of 60 days notice as a period within which you should go ahead and secure a court order. If in those 60 days we have not got the court order, then we go ahead and remove it, because you have demonstrated that you are not serious and the purpose for which you put the caveat was not serious. Many of you claim that you don't receive this communication. This communication now we have modified. we try to put in the newspapers of wide circulation. We do Monitor, we do New Vision, we do Observer, some we do in 𝐒𝐿𝐴. But now we also say we use registered mail, the postal address using registered mail to make sure that this information reaches you. Where you have telephone contacts, where you have given us telephone contacts and emails, we still go ahead and share with you to make sure that really the notice has reached you. So the people in the diaspora who have put caveats, please always indicate addresses where you can be contacted. And before anybody tampers with these caveats, we shall surely do all it takes to reach you. Then how sure can I be the land I have purchased is not located?
Mr. Ijira, if you allow me, I'm sorry to cut you short. If you allow me, because this is really a very pertinent webinar, whereby we really want to give our diaspora participants online time as well to ask you questions. But however, I would request that if I can call in our second speaker so that you prepare for this other set of questions that are being sent on the chat, if you don't mind, with your permission, please.
I agree, Silvia. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Bigura, for that insightful presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me, we transition from the lands commissioner to now the attorney, the administrator general's office. I want us to join. I want you guys to join me. Welcome, Mr. Henry Kulova, who is going to give us now to put us into a different perspective, coming from the administrator general's perspective. We are looking at protecting the estates. If my parents are deceased, how do I go about that? How do I move as a diasporan? How am I protected? And also, how do I look into the issue of fraud and mismanagement of estates? So, Mr. Kula, the floor is yours. I have a number of questions here that people have been sending in. However, I want you to come in first. The mic is yours, please.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Sylvia.
You're welcome.
I wanted maybe to just briefly talk about the office so that we put it in proper context for some of our people who may not know about the office. The mandate, the Office of Administrator General is established by an Act of Parliament, the Administrator General's Act, and it is an office that deals with administration of estates of deceased persons. But also the mandate is broader than just deceased persons. It extends to estates of missing persons. And that is very critical because I'm sure one of us may at times have a relative who may have gone missing for one reason or another. And the missing is a legal concept which has consequences. So what happens to, for example, property of a person who goes missing? And in law, there is actually what they call presumption of death, that after a certain period of time, you are presumed to be dead. So it is a very serious matter, and our mandate extends to missing persons and also extends to persons with mental illness, because it is now an increasing trend that people get mentally ill, they have property. What happens to the property of somebody who gets ill? So our mandate is broader in that context. But when you look at the particular mandate, of course, the administration of estates, we manage estates, especially where families cannot do so because of differences or any other reason or court orders that Administrator General takes over a particular estate for a particular reason. So that is usually our first mandate. The second is we issue certificates of no objection. Now, this is the main thing because we try to ensure that families manage their own properties. The Administrator General may not manage all estates in Uganda. So what we do is we try, even if there are family issues, differences, we try to hold meetings, mediation meetings, to ensure that the family members come to an understanding and agree on somebody who is going to administer the estate. And when the family members, through a meeting, and I think this is where the diaspora people were coming in, sit and agree on one, we usually give up to a maximum of 5 because it also complicates matters when you are so many who are going to administer the estate. So from 1 to 5, they agree on names of people whom they want to administer the estate. The Administrator General issues an official document called a Certificate of No Objection. So that is part of our mandate. We issue certificate of no objections to people who have been selected by families to administer estates. So managing estates of missing persons and the persons of with mental illness, as I talked about. Now, as we know, Sylvia, or we ought to know that when you die, you either die testate or intestate. You die testate when you have left a valid will, and as an office, we always encourage people to write wills. That when you die and you have left a will, in law, it is said that you have died testate. And the implications is that you don't go through the Office of Administrator General to get powers over that estate. Once a will is valid, and a valid will simply is signed by the person making it, and at least 2 witnesses, witnessed by at least 2 people, 2 or more. And then you appoint an executor. An executor is the person who is going to put into effect what you have willed. Now, once that is done and somebody passes on, then they go to the court directly. They don't come to the Office of Administrator General. Meaning, the Office of Administrator General deals with a person who has died intestate. Now, a person who has died intestate is a person who dies without leaving a valid will behind. So, in other words, you have left your matters to the state. Your family opens a file with the Office of Administrator General. Family meetings are held either through in our office or through our recognized agents, usually now that the Chief Administrative Officer. So once you die intestate, that means you have not left a will. It means you are going to first go through the Office of Administrator General. The family agrees on people who are going to administer the estate. They are issued with a certificate of no objection, and then they proceed to court to get letters of administration. Now, Sylvia, the diaspora unit had sent me some questions. I think that people had sent before the webinar this evening, and they had asked me to structure my presentation around those. So if you could allow, I would quickly go through them. But most of the questions were also rotating around the recent developments in succession law. As we all know, the president assented to the amended succession laws in 2022 and have already taken effect. First of all, when it came to the requirements of a valid will, the law added a requirement that on all pages of the will, they must be signed. And that is to avoid fraud, because we had fraud in wills where you write a will of 5 pages and then maybe somebody inserts, some unscrupulous person inserts a 5th page within there. and then the allocating will must be signed on all pages as a way of curbing fraud. Then also there are restrictions on what you can will or what you can give out in a will. Now you cannot give out a home, your principal residence, or other residences where your family lives. You can't give them out in a will. It used position was not clear before the amendment. Now it is clear. You can't give out that house. That house belongs to the surviving spouse and the children who are below 18 or who are school going. And then the distribution of the estate of a person who has died intestate, that means he has not left a will. The law gives percentages. So they revised the percentages so that upon death of a person now, the surviving spouse takes 20%, the children take 75%, the heir takes 1%, and the dependent relatives take 4%. So they were revised just to increase the share of a surviving spouse, widow, widower. And then there was issue of effect of remarriage of a spouse who remarries after the death of their spouse. The law making that doesn't disentitle them from sharing in the estate of that deceased person. So those are a few highlights that were brought about in the amendment. There are quite a number, but we pointed out those ones, and also expiry of letters of administration. That now in Uganda, when you get letters of administration, they are only for a period of 2 years, and they expire. That was supposed to curb a certain mischief that was where administrators could administer an estate for eternity. 20, 30, 40 years, somebody is administering an estate. And of course, people complaining that he has monopolized, he's the only one benefiting from this. So the laws are amended to say that when you get letters of administration, then you are you expire after 2 years, and if you want them to be renewed, you must demonstrate justifiable reasons, and the beneficiaries must consent to the renewal. So it is a very good check on the powers of administrators, which hitherto were very, very wide and were abused. One of the questions that was given to me by the unit and was that what is the role of the Administrator General in protecting estates of deceased persons? So the Administrator General under the law can take possession of an estate to prevent abuse before letters of administration are issued. The law gives the Administrator General powers to take over an estate for 6 months before letters of administration are issued. So people are advised to report death of their loved one to the Office of Administrator General, because at times we may not know if you don't report to us. We can take over and provide for the deceased's funeral. We can take over and provide for deceased's immediate necessities. For example, you find families which are conflicting and disputing, and yet there are school-going children who need school fees. The estate maybe even has money through rent, but kids can't go to school because of the disputes. So the Administrator General can come in and actually provide for those immediate necessities. We preserve and ensure prudent management of estates, business, especially if somebody has left a running business. And then also we can receive money and other funds due to the estate and keep it on the public trustee account. How can diaspora beneficiaries follow up succession and inheritance matters while abroad? Diaspora beneficiaries can participate in family meetings virtually. The office is also moving with the trends, especially of the globalized world. So virtual meetings are held. The diaspora beneficiaries can also participate through powers of attorney to trusted people to follow up their matters in Uganda. And what happens when family members unlawfully distribute or sell estate property? we always advise that the first step is to lodge caveats on affected land. Beneficiaries have a right to lodge caveats, as Mr. Bigira had explained, but also where land is sold by non-administrators or by administrators without beneficiaries' consent, you can sue in court for recovery of that land. How can beneficiaries abroad challenge fraudulent estate administrators? Here, if fraud relates to action of letters of administration, because the fraud can be on many fronts. There is fraud relating to acquisition of letters of administration, where people lie, give false information. They are not even beneficiaries, they are not family members, but they personate and get letters of administration. So where that happens, the true beneficiaries are advised to sue for revocation of those letters of administration. But if the fraud relates to sale of estate property, then the suit for recovery and cancellation of the entries in land office. So what remedies exist where administrators fail to account for estate assets? Where administrators misappropriate estate property for personal gain, then their property can be traced to make good. So some people steal estate property and they use the money to buy property in their own names. So in the law of succession, there's what they call tracing. You can trace the proceeds from estate property to somebody's personal property and ensure that it is recovered. Then what protections are available against forged signatures and fake family agreements? Yes, this is a serious concern in estate administration, that you have people who forge other people's signatures, and this one is of interest to diasporans, because we always insist that even if somebody is in the diaspora, they should consent during family meetings. They should consent. At times we ensure that you let him sign a notarized consent agreeing with the people in Uganda on who is going to administer the estate. But some people go ahead and do those forgeries. So we are trying to ensure that even if we are allowing for virtual and online participation, we ensure that there is the fraud is curbed. So, for example, the Administrator General insists on additional safeguards. So even if you send a notarized consent, written consent from the UK, saying that me, Sylvia, I agree that Henry should be the administrator of my father's estate. We now follow up with Sylvia either through a virtual interaction on Zoom to now find out, is it true that you signed the consent agreeing to so and so to administer the estate? We can also follow through a telephone call, and before we rely on those documents. That is how we are trying to curb fraud that is coming because of virtual participation. We do double safeguards. How can diaspora Ugandans apply for letters of administration remotely? Now, the law allows people in the diaspora to administer estates. It has its challenges, but the law doesn't stop if you are in the diaspora to actually administer an estate in Uganda. There are issues of logistics, convenience, but the law doesn't stop them. Now, if you want to apply remotely, of course, now, for example, if it is probate, we say that probate is where you apply to court directly where there is a valid will. Somebody has left valid will, meaning you don't come to the office of Administrator General. Now, the court has what they call 𝐔𝐠𝐚𝐧𝐝, electronic court case management system, where you can apply to court online from wherever you are. So that is one option that you file a petition, you can get legal advice on how a petition for probate is supposed to be, and you file it online. And I'm aware that the High Court allows for virtual identification, so they can identify you virtually. With the Office of Administrator General, like I said, remotely, diasporans can participate in family meetings through Zoom. We can hold meetings. We do hold them even currently. But like I said, we do some double safeguards to ensure that the people we are communicating with are the right people and are not trying to defraud an estate. Lastly, common mistakes that delay succession and inheritance processes. Some of the common mistakes, of course, concealment of information. You know, estate management is an area of trust, and whenever there is a trust deficit amongst beneficiaries, there's going to be delays because concealment or falsification of vital information. For example, number of children. You know your father has 10 children, you said we are only 2 or we are only 3. When they deal with those, the others come up and then institute suits, and that takes years. So that can be stopped by just being truthful and giving the information, including properties that don't form part of the estate. That one is very serious because, for example, there is what they call a gift intervivors, that a person before dying gives out property to people or even his children, and he gives them during his lifetime, but during application for letters of administration, other beneficiaries who may not be happy with that gift include it as part of the estate and they want to share on it. Now that one leads to protracted disputes. I know of a matter that went up to the Supreme Court just because was it a gift? Was it not? Does it form part of the estate or not? Just imagine a matter coming from the High Court up to the Supreme Court and it's just dealing with a gift, whether there was a gift by a person before he died. So those are matters that really complicate and delay succession matters. So Sylvia, that is briefly what I can say about the Office of Administrator General and what we do, and the highlights on the questions that the unit had forwarded to me. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Mr. Grover, the Assistant Administrator General in the Administrator General's office. You have indeed exhausted everything, and I don't want to go far before I give an opportunity to our participants as well to speak or ask a number of questions, because I see we have over 130 participants, and I believe this is something that they were looking out for. I want to give them time. I want to give them, at least we will try our level best to give each and every person here to ask in your questions or to raise your hand. And please, when I call you in to ask a question, tell us your name, your country, and straight to the question, please, so that we give an opportunity. We make the webinar transparent to each and everyone. And also, and the other thing is that when you're asking, make your question clear. We don't want to go into the stories or the genesis. Just try to make your question brief and clear. I see on the chat somebody's asking if the session is recorded. Yes, I believe the session is recorded, and there is a YouTube link that I request the State House unit to share that link so that in case of any thing or you want to go back and review the session, you have the link. Please, if Mr. Tofa, if you can put that YouTube link in the chat, that would be great. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me at this point of time to move into the question and answer session. I don't want to add on any other thing after our panelists have really given us a detailed presentation. But for the interest of time, we're going to go into question and answers. I will try also to read the ones on the chat, but also if you have a question, I will follow the order. Whoever raises the hand up first, I will, in that order, we shall go for the question and answer session. And once again, I want to thank all our panelists, our host, Dr. Soke. Thank you very much for hosting this, and the diaspora unit, the State House diaspora unit. If you have a question, I'm gonna go in the order of the hands, but as well, I will read the questions on the chat. And starting with the question on the chat, this I believe the question goes to to Mr. Gira. There is somebody is asking here that what must one do in Uganda if you want to cut off land from the main title and the landlord is not willing to give you original title unless you pay certain amount of money? And he's again asking, is there a standard fee for such a kind of fee that is that landlord are supposed to get or to paid? That's a question from my WhatsApp chat. And then when I go on the chat here, let me see on the chat. Okay. Okay, clear. Somebody, Hazel is it Hazel? Yes, is asking, please clarify more about letters of probate when there is a valid will. Who qualifies to administer the estate? Do you grow up? Do grown up children need a trustee to apply them all? Or they can choose one amongst the children. Do you first get letters of administration to acquire probate? And as you're answering those questions on our side of the people who want to speak, I see Musana, John Agaba, Joseph, and C. So in that order, we're gonna go with Stephen Musana, followed by John Agaba, Joseph, and Mr. or Mrs. C, however you want to, whichever way you want me to address you. And I will start with, again, Mr. Digira, I believe you're still there. If you can respond to the first question, and then also after that, Assistant Administrator General comes in, and then I will give the mic to Stephen, and after Stephen, John Agaba, Joseph, and is it Hasif? I think Mr. or Mrs. C left. Over to you, Mr.
Thank you, Sylvia.
Mhm.
What must one do where the landlord refuses to give the title for one to subdivide themselves off? What was the nature of the transaction? Because this one must have been a purchase, and this is really a matter of contract. That when I buy land from Vijira, and I'm buying a piece from his land, the agreement must be clear. So if I paid Vijira full purchase price, and he has refused to give me the other documents, which would facilitate me to subdivide, I think I take it through the formal court processes. Yeah? Otherwise, because colleagues, here is that under what circumstance must cut off himself or herself from another parent title. Either you are a family member and you are sharing the estate, or you purchased. So if it is purchased, then the other person is supposed to give you for Milo a mutation form, transfer form, and a land title. And all these ones are supposed to be done at the time of purchase or something. So if the person does not give you the mother title to subdivide, we advise that you pursue that through the courts of law. Otherwise, we cannot force that person to subdivide their land. Our instruction is availability of records from that person that we go ahead. What are standard fees? Standard fees vary because, let's say for subdivision, surveying services are private. The Ministry of Lands does not turn over or determine how much surveyors charge. So it really varies from person to person, depending on how much you are charged. But the ministry normally, for a new title at subdivision, it does not exceed 83,000 shillings. The different fees, there are a few fees you pay at the district, then the ones you pay at the ministry. The monies you pay at the ministry is only 83,000 shillings. So the money that the surveyors charge, it's separate. The few monies, registration fees and others you pay at the district, which is not more than 100. Then on this side, at the ministry, there's assurance of title fees and the title charge, which does not exceed 83. At the district, okay, depending on the number of titles you are creating, if it's a subdivision with thousands, the money will change. But if it is one title, the government will take from both the ministry and the district approximately 183,000 shillings. Over to Sylvia. Also, I was saying, Sylvia, I also had a couple of questions they called commonly asked questions, but I chose to listen on to people to see what they want to ask. And if you give me a chance, I can also respond to the commonly asked questions later then if you have some time.
Yes, well, yes, please, I will. We'll have that time. If you can allow me bring in the Assistant Administrator General. Are you still around, Mr.
Yes.
Henry?
Yes.
Yes, if you can chip in, please.
Yeah, so for maybe just to clarify, there were issues of probate, letters of administration, maybe to just demystify. Whenever you hear of probate means, first of all, what should come in your mind when you hear probate is that somebody left a will. So probate means that the power that court gives to an executor to implement a deceased person's will. So that is what is called probate. Some people call it letters of probate, so that you can now distinguish them from letters of administration. So now, having understood that probate, that is power to manage an estate or a person who has died leaving a will, that means you are going to manage in accordance with the wishes of a deceased person written down in his will or her will. Letters of administration, on the other hand, is power. Again, both are powers, but this is power to manage the estate of a deceased person in accordance with the law. That means that letters of administration relate to a person who has not left a will. Now, the third one, and it is also important, is that letters of administration with a will annexed. Now, letters of administration with a will annexed comes where somebody leaves a will but doesn't appoint executors. That's why when we are talking about a good will, if you want to make a good will, that will must have clearly mention your beneficiaries, clearly mention your properties, and distribution of those properties to whoever you want. But also you appoint a person called an executor, a person who's going to put into effect what you have willed. Now, when you write a will and you don't appoint that executor, it doesn't invalidate the will. But what happens is that the family, your family, has to again sit and appoint a person or persons who get letters of administration with a will annexed. Now, you remember the first letters of administration we talked about are general letters of administration. They have no will annexed to it. You are going to distribute in accordance with the law. Letters of administration with a will annexed. Now, you get the letters, but you are going to manage the estate in accordance with the will. That's why you are annexing or attaching it. So I hope the two or three now concepts are understood. Probate, where there is a will, you get powers from court to manage the estate in accordance with that will, strictly, no variation from it. Letters of administration, no will left. You get letters of administration and you distribute in accordance with the law. The law determines who gets what. The widow gets 20%, the children get 75%, the dependent relatives get 4%. So your role as an administrator is to just give those percentages to those people. And then letter of administration with a will annexed means there is a will, but it doesn't appoint executors. So the family has appointed somebody who gets now powers to manage in accordance with the will. Then there was the issue of adult children. Yes, you can have an estate where all the deceased children are above 18 adults. But you can also have an estate where the firstborn is 30, the lastborn is 5 years old. In between there are 13-year-olds, 15, 28. Now, when you have that mixture, the issue is that letters of administration cannot be issued to a minor. They can't be issued to somebody below 18 years. So it will be issued to the adults. But for us as an office, we ensure that the minors' interests are protected, because remember, they can't get letter of administration. They even don't know what is happening, by the way. So we ensure that these minors' interests are protected. So we ask, whom have you appointed? If the state has a man who had children from 5 women, some of the women have adult children, some of the women have young ones, and these are realities of our estates. We can say that, okay, you get the adult children from the other women, but this woman, the mother of this 10-year-old, must also be part of the administration to ensure that the interests of these young ones are catered for. So that's how we play the issue of minors not being eligible for administration, but we ensure that their interests are protected. And at times, actually, we can even take over an estate of a deceased person where we think that the interests of the minors are not going to be catered for. Thank you, Sylvia.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Claudia. And with that, I will want to call Stephen Musana to please submit in your question. If you don't mind, mute your mic and go straight and ask your question. And after you, it will be John Agawa, and then Joseph, and then our panelist comes in to respond to those questions. The mic is yours, Stephen. Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia. My question is directed to Mr. Wigira. And it relates to something that you touched a little bit in your presentation.
Stephen, can you tell us, introduce yourself, where you're tuning in from, your name, where you're tuning from, and then straight to the question.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm Stephen, and I'm calling in from Czech Republic. And my question relates to the issue of safety for buyers when you're buying land or any other kind of property. There are many situations that happen, and for example, you mentioned the issue of members conniving, others to sell, and others to come and challenge the sale, and then the end result is that you're told you bought air. Now, that always pisses me off to hear that somebody says you bought air, but there's somebody who sold it to you. What safeguards are there for the buyers? Because this is a very big threat that when you're making a purchase, you don't know whether you're really spending your money for something valuable or you're throwing it away.
Thank you. Thank you, Stephen. John Agaba. Mr. John Agaba, are you there?
Got it.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, thank you. I'll be brief. Thank you so much, Sylvia, for organizing this. Thank you, our Ministry of Lands and Administrator General for presenting us and giving us the info actually we needed. Thank you also. This also goes to the diaspora desk for reaching out and bringing all these experts to our conference here when it's needed. I'll go quick on the issue of the land. Now, of course, I asked a question where I was requesting that if the land is organizing land titles, it should consider giving out addresses. I understand it's really very, very important for addresses to be issued. But at this moment, see with the land's ongoing project of issuing us and making it digital and people accessing is specifically focusing on the lands, but it does not go beyond land titles. However, the most important thing with the addresses is the accessibility of our financial institutions. It's very, very important, not only that the title should bear addresses, but people should also have a good relationship with our financial institutions, whereby you work in a bank, the bank doesn't know you. All they need to know is about John Agaba. I'm sorry, I didn't identify myself. I'm John Agaba. I'm based in the US, Washington State, and I've been living here for since 1999. But I go back and forth. I'm much involved in all activities going in Uganda and up to now. However, I really want the lands to consider addresses to be very, 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 very important and vital part of our societies. Because if you don't have an address, how do I work?
Mr. John, Mr. Gaba,
yes.
Do you have a call for action or a question? I want us to
a call for action.
Call to action or a call to
yes.
action or because we wanted to give at least people to ask questions so that then we can call in the call to act,
Yeah, a call to action because yeah. I posed a request, but I understand Mr. The one from the lands talked about it, but they didn't take it kind of very important. But I'm trying to bring it over that they should in future consider issuing addresses, because when you go to issuing even IDs, one would say from the address they put there is Nansana East 1A as a village. Then someone says Nansana East Ward. Then Nansana division, Chadondo, Uwakiso district. This one does not even identify someone. So my request, to cut it short, I think land should really consider making addresses very, very important as they go through exercise. Another question is about the Administrator General. We have customary land. The father who had this land passed on, and he didn't leave wills. I know you've talked about it. And actually, this is on me personally. Then when I went back, I found these people encroachers encroaching the land, and there was a need to quickly acquire the land title, of which I did, and we have a land title for that land. However, we were trying to stop people from encroaching this land more and more. However, the government had electrification going through. The project was already going through, and they had registered this land into customary land. So how do we go about? Because now we have a title. We try to go to the office, say, hey, we already have a land. Can you change this thing? They said, oh, that's too much. We cannot go back to this. You have to have an administrator, letters of administration, which is a long process. Like for us people who are here, because you have to go back and forth and make sure. How do we go about this situation? This goes to Administrator General.
Mr. General? Yeah, well, Administrator General. Okay, Administrator General. All right.
Sorry for that
thank
long.
you. Thank you,
Sylvia.
Mr. Gaba. Please, our panelists, I'm going to get all the questions, and as you note down, then you can come in and respond at once. But also, I want to request about, again, probably 15 to 30 minutes, because we have gone over time. And I know this is a very important topic that we are, tackling. So we need, you can just bear with me, please. Shall be done with this webinar in the next 15 to 30 minutes. To add on those questions, or maybe before, please, Joseph, can you unmute and also ask your question? Please name the country and your question. Go ahead, please. The mic is yours.
Good
Joseph?
evening. Good evening. Joseph
Good
here.
evening.
Joseph, I'm in Qatar. My question goes to Henry, the Administrator General. I recently lost a friend, and the friend died without writing a will. I mean, he was involved in a car accident and he died. Acquiring the administrator's letters or something took almost 6 months. My question is, how long does one take to get these General's letters? And how much does it cost? Because we try to contact lawyers, and each and every lawyer gives you his or her own amount. Is there any standard amount, and is there any specific time? I mean, someone can't wait for 6 months to get these Administrator General's letters. Another question is, the 75 reservations for dependent, there is a clause, I think. It's a reservation for dependent children. I mean, out of the estate of the late, there is what we leave behind to reserve for dependent children. And that is 75%. I think someone mentioned about the 75%, 20%, the 4%, and so forth. This 75%, what is it? Is it the financial side or the entire estate? I mean, the late died with plots of land. He had the plots of land. He had some cash. What is this 75%? Is it the financial side of it or the entire estate? Is the 75% that is for the dependent children, and then the 4% and then the 20%. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Joseph. We'll go to Elizabeth Nyakampaka. Elizabeth, are you there? Well, I think we lost Elizabeth, and I will go to
Hello?
Mum's
No,
iPhone.
I'm there. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, I can hear you, Elizabeth. Thank you for representing the women.
All right. Thank you. My name is Elizabeth, and I'm calling from UK. My question is, how do we deal with the endemic corruption in Ministry of Lands? This is our challenge. I've got 2 lived experiences. Court orders or orders from the Public Permanent Secretary, Minister of Lands, says this title was fraudulently obtained. I am directing the commissioner under section so and so to cancel this title. And that letter hangs in the air for over 2 years.
Thank you so much,
The land
Elizabeth.
officers are asking us up to 10 million. You've got a court order saying cancel that title. There's substantial evidence. The court order is detailed to show that the title was acquired fraudulently and says cancel it and put it in the names of the administrator. And the land officers are asking us up to 10 million. I'm happy to give you evidence in about 2 weeks' time. What do we do? The problem is the land office itself. This goes Bijirwa. How do we deal with your endemic or pandemic corruption in your lands office?
Thank you, Elizabeth, for that great question. And I will go to Mom's iPhone. Mom's iPhone, are you there? Mom's iPhone. All right, I will give an opportunity to Mzee.
Hello, I'm here.
Hello, yes, Mzee, go ahead. Your name, your country, and straight to the question.
My name is Ndugwa Mustafa from UAE, Chairman Dubai. My question will go to Mr. Stefan, Administrator General's office. I have 2 questions. First, if there is a will, somebody made a will, but the minors were not considered in that will. Maybe they got little properties or what, and the elders got most of the profitable properties. Is there any way a will can be nullified? Secondly, I wanted to ask a question. If like I have a piece of land and my relative, maybe a wife, a sister, fraudulently, they sell my land without me knowing to somebody else, using my ID, the national ID, without me being there. They connive with the landlord so that they can sell the land. So what are the chances I have to bring back my land and the title?
Thank you. Thank you. And we'll go iPhone again. I think this is Mom's iPhone. iPhone?
No, I'm the one.
Oh, you're the one. Okay.
Yes.
Done with your question. Thank you. Now I will go to Ellie. Ellie, are you there? Okay, Ellie seems to be. Hello, Ellie? Okay, Ellie seems to be engaged a little bit. Are you there?
I can hear you. Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Go ahead, please. Tell us your name, where you're calling in from or logging in from, and then straight to your question.
Yeah, thank you, Sylvia. And all the bosses we have on the platform and all the participants. I'm from UK. My name is 𝐒𝐥𝐿. I saw a disturbing trending message about a lady who lost her first daughter in China. I've tried to find out the contact, but I didn't get it. She lost her daughter in China, and she was trying to repatriate the body back to Mbarara. The lady is from Chujungu. I saw the message moving on social media, pleading to Deputy Speaker and other people who can help her. Could there be help to help such a kind of a person to bring back the body of her daughter? Thank you.
Well, it's unfortunate that that incident is happening. However, this is you are logged into diaspora unit land and property session. So yeah, but they can pass that information. I think Mr. Tofa, if you can take that information and then pass it to the right officers, please. I will leave that to you. Last TN. TN. Let me allow you to talk. TN.
Yes, thank you, Sylvia.
Yes. You're welcome. Go ahead.
Thank you, everyone who has presented. We really appreciate this. Is very informative. Sylvia, I just have a concern here. There are people who've pasted all their questions in the chat, but these are not being responded to. So I would request that instead of picking on who is putting up their hand, there are questions that were sent to the chat earlier. Could you kindly respond to those questions? I have literally about 4 questions, and I'm just willing to wait in the chat because I think it's been a queue and people have been here since the start of the webinar. It would only be fair to have those questions responded to. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you for raising that concern. And as I go through the chat, I think some of them were already responded to as our panelists were given, were sharing with us. However, okay. Okay, somebody's asking us to share your contacts and the desk will contact you on the issue. Okay, the person who was asking about assistance with repatriation, they are requesting you to send in your contacts. And okay, the other question is, how long does it take to have title deed printed, issued? That question goes to Mr. Vijira. Then to Attorney General, somebody's asking, what does the AG need to do to ensure that 20% of estate meant to be put into trust as per the Succession Act for the minors actually gets put aside in trust? I'll try to go through all the questions. I know also our panelists are noting them down. Then Stephen is asking, Slido is an easy, okay, Slido, I did not understand that. Use the AQ and polling platform, increase engagement at your meetings. I think that's a feedback. Thank you. Will the recording be shared? Yes, the recording is shared on YouTube. Mr. Tofa is going to share that link in the chat. Okay, the other is others define non-matrimonial as the land acquired by one spouse before entering the marriage, all acquired individually during the marriage via inheritance or as a personal gift. My emphasis, this includes acquired with their own non-joint resources. I think that's a feedback with a question. Okay, the other, Oscar, some sources define non-matrimonial as non-matrimonial land. Land refers to individual property owned by one spouse before marriage or acquired during the marriage through inheritance, personal gifts, or non-joint resources, unlike family or joint matrimonial land. This property solely belongs to the individual and is not automatically subject to equal sharing divorce. I think that's information sharing. The other question is, how do we get people to understand that writing a will is not preparing for death, but preparing to protect those who, okay, the church is off. I think, yeah, please, if allow me call in our panelists to respond to those questions. And as we wrap up this session, I think most of the questions as well were answered through their presentation. Anonymous is asking, what happens if you have land in Uganda and get citizenship in another country? That's a very good question. I think that goes to Mr. Vijira. And another question, land officers defy court orders cancelling titles obtained fraudulently and ask for millions of money to cancel the titles. How do we deal with such officers? Regarding reservation for, okay, I think that's a suggestion. What exactly is 20% of gross estate, which must be set aside for children, those undergoing school and disabled? Then second last, what happens if one wants to get a certificate of death for someone who died over 30 years ago? We have heard that they no longer accept deaths in the 80s, except those in the 90s. Okay, then Isaac, hello. Isaac is asking from Rwanda. I would like to seek clarification on the following land matters in Uganda. Do we currently have approved city and urban master plan in place? Another one, if they exist, are their master plans digitally accessible to the public, especially Ugandans in the diaspora? Lastly, what does the Ministry of Lands have a digital land allocation or zoning portal to help land buyers identify wetlands, reserve, and other protected areas before purchase? Okay, and Edith wants us to please clarify more about letters of probate when there is a valid will. Who qualifies to administer the estate? Do grown-up children need a trustee to apply for them? Or they can choose one amongst the children? Do you first get letters? I think I already asked about that. I believe I have gone through all the questions. Okay, maybe this is also a very important question. May I ask if we need a team in order to use the app? Very valid question. 2, if we paid for a survey in 2010 for a plot in Machindye, Buziga, inherited from our and have a receipt but have no follow-up or report or a processed title, even though we have attempted to find out various times, who would be the best person to engage to help follow this up? Please, I'm happy to share my details directly if needed. Okay, I think. And lastly, second last, the app that is being talked about has not worked for me 3 times. I created an account, paid for the land search, and never got a report on the several occasions. Can you please clarify on this? When does it work? And I think lastly, in other countries, when purchasing property, the money is first held in an escrow account arranged by the selling agency. And this ensures that both sides feel safe in the transaction. In pre-sale agreement, it's stipulated under which condition the money will be released. Are there similar services available in Uganda to ensure funds are transferred when transfer of title is done before seller receives funds? Stephen from the Czech Republic. Thank you very much. I think I have exhausted most of the questions. Allow me start with Mr. Vijira to come in and give a response in about 6-7 minutes. And then from there, we shall have the Assistant Administrator General. Mr. Vijira, the floor is yours, sorry.
Thank you, Sylvia. I'm requesting that I go through quickly in a second on the commonly asked questions, then I respond to this.
Okay.
How can Ugandans in diaspora verify ownership and authenticity of land titles while abroad? I said we should use the land information system to do searches. The system generates official searches, and the search costs 10,000. But also, if you have people in Uganda, send them to approach land offices, they'll give you data. What steps should diaspora Ugandans take before purchasing land? Conduct search, hire trusted and reputable professionals to do this. Conduct due diligence, do physical verification of boundaries, talk to neighbors, talk to leadership, LOCs, and so on. Obtain certified copies of titles, verify chain of ownership. Talk to whom did you buy from, who sold to you, to check. Then contact the Ministry of Lands, which is in constant touch with the diaspora desk for details. How can one confirm whether land is free from disputes, caveats, and double titling? Our system can now verify that. If the land is lying in a wetland, protected areas, we have mechanisms of tracing, and once we approach our offices, we give you that information. But also, regularly, the ministry publishes a list of application for specials, letters of administration, all of those. We publish them in the papers to alert people. What system has the ministry introduced to reduce land fraud? Digitization of titles, it's one way. Automated alerts. Now we send alerts on your phones to alert you that the transaction ongoing. Then we have linked photographs plus national IDs. You can check them on the system. You can see and tell who we are dealing with. Then protection of diaspora property. What legal protections exist against illegal occupation or sale? Colleagues, the duty to protect physical land is yours. The duty of government or the ministry is to protect the records. We shall protect the records, but the ground, the physical land, is protected by you. So we keep using police, but also once these cases of irregular or illegal dealing are brought to our attention, we conduct hearings, and where we find some people at fault, we cancel these titles and restore the land to the owner. So I encourage you, try to fence, put some developments on the ground. Involve caretakers. You guys who are in the diaspora, the population of Uganda is growing and the pressure on land is becoming too much. Get people to look after your land, although these people are sometimes the same people that cheat you. Introduce your approach to the local leadership, the LOCs in the area, the neighbors, and also tell them they're not in the country so that they can take care of it. How can diaspora Ugandans report land grabbing and fraudulent transactions remotely? The ministry has introduced a toll-free line, and I told you we have a customer care center, which is manned 24/7. Sylvia, if you may allow, I can share this number.
Please, yes, please.
The number is 0800 100004. This is a toll-free line which is operated by staff, and they pick these issues and raise them. Then through the embassies, contact your embassies. But you can also contact us on the ministry portal or UJRS portal, our website, and we shall endeavor to respond to these issues. What is the ministry doing to address forged land titles and fake transfers? I said we will publish all applications for specials in newspapers, and normally we have got enormous response of people who disown those. We have made it mandatory for people to give us photos and NIN to reduce that risk. Then we require phones, but also we take punitive measures. We take punitive measures of those involved. Can land transfers, searches, and registration be conducted digitally? Partially, searches, valuation, requests, application for caveats, and stamp duty can be done online. So assessment for stamp duty, searches, caveats requests, All of those are done online. You can access that service on what we shared. But we are also trying to explore many other products. How can Ugandans abroad safely use powers of attorney in land transaction? Powers of attorney, you people who are living in wherever you are and you give people powers of attorney to handle transaction on your behalf. Be specific. Some of you are telling them, allow Johnson Bigira to fence my land. Then you say, allow Johnson Bigira to deal in my land in any way he deems. If you say any way, the interpretation will including selling, mortgaging, subdividing, and etc. So when you are giving these powers, please try to be specific. What kind of powers are you giving? For how long? And to do what? Because when you make it, when it comes to us here, we sometimes find difficult in interpreting it. Are there plans to strengthen the verification of powers of attorney? Yes, that one we shall try to. You know, some of you are not reached. So the methods of reaching you is hard to verify. How can diaspora Ugandans secure ownership over customary land? Through registration. We shall try to include you. Through customary certificates, through freehold, we try to include you. As long as we know you are Ugandan and on application, you are there. What guidance does the ministry provide to family land? That one we talked about it. How can family land boundaries and ownership be formally documented through registration, register and obtain a title, hire licensed surveyors to survey for you this land. What reforms are being undertaken? This one we talked about it. We talked about we are trying to reduce face-to-face interaction. We want to start because we realize those are areas where corruption. Some of you people want to even induce our staff to give them bribes to do things which are not doable. So we are trying to develop technologies where we are going to reduce human interaction. We are going to do it. How can the ministry collaborate with Ugandan embassies and diaspora associations? Give us suggestions on how we can collaborate. But we are saying we are available to serve Ugandans in all parts of the world. But let us discuss and agree on modalities how we can reach you and you reach us. But whenever you reach us, we shall try to respond. Now, questions. Stephen from Czech Republic. Theft for buyers, please.
Mr. Bigira, may I apologize. As you're answering the questions, please, I kindly request if you can wrap up those questions in about 3 or 4 minutes. But also, as you're wrapping it up, kindly give your final departing word or departing advice to these diasporans. Thank you.
Stephen, we advise you people in the diaspora to do due diligence. Invest in due diligence before you spend your money. Addresses, this is John Agaba. Addresses, it cannot be the ministry alone. In Uganda, the nature of settlement has made it difficult to give accurate addresses. So the whole government approach should be employed to give proper address. It's good for everybody. Elizabeth, corruption in the Ministry of Lands, we are aware, but we cannot condone corruption. Where matters of corruption are brought to our attention, we have addressed them decisively. However, many of you are cheated and you don't deal, you don't report. So it's difficult, yes, to remain an allegation until brought to forward for us to address that. UAE, someone transferred their land without your knowledge. Yes, you report a case, investigations are done. If we find that you are not involved, police and other arms of the law, we have sufficient law to protect those people. How long does it take to print a title? It depends. Is it a new title? Is it transfer? Is it what? We have a current charter which gives us timelines: 3 days, 5 days, 12 days, if all that is required is in place. So it depends. Some of you fill documents which are substandard, which are lacking material facts, and it is hard to continue, but we notify you. But where everything is, the search is 1 day, the mortgage is 3 days, transfer is 5 days, and I think a new title takes about 12 days. But when is it? I saw in the chat, Sylvia, the process of registering land, which we have not responded to. It's a bit lengthy. There are many questions actually in chats, but that one we shall see. Allocation of land in protected areas. We are working with water, forestry, NEMA to create segments on our national land information system where protected lands are now flagged. Anybody who attempts to do anything in those areas, it alerts us. TIN, the TIN number is a requirement for identification, but we are going to modify more so for those ones who are not here to see if they can search without putting in TIN. It does not work. I'm going to find out because the app is supposed to be up and running 24/7. Money held in escrow accounts. This is a matter of contract. The buyer and the seller agree on the mode of payment. So once they agree, many of you Ugandans want to pay cash. You don't want to deal through lawyers and through banks. So it's something we can deal with. If you give us power, we can register that all land transactions must pass through banks, must pass through lawyers, and the money should not move until the transaction is complete. But that one depends on who is dealing with who. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Minister for Lands and Housing and Urban Development, on behalf of the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Lands, on behalf of the Department of Land Registration, we would like to thank you, participants, in a special way for giving us the audience and the questions you have asked. We want to thank the President's Office, the Diaspora Desk, for making this possible. It is your ministry, we are your servants, we are a call away. We shall endeavor to serve our citizens in the different parts of the world. And through the Diaspora Desk, we are going to agree on how more we can be available and accessible on all issues you have and address. Even the questions which are in the chats, I hope you'll be able to extract them and we respond to them formally. We want to thank you so much. Where I have not been clear, please raise the issues. We shall reach out to you and give you more clear answers. How to register land? We have a booklet. I think I will share with Mr. Bagonza, A to Z on how to register land. We have it. A to Z from the sub-county.
Thank you. Mr. Gira, sorry, I may apologize. I'm going to have to cut you short. However, thank you so much. And thank you for giving us that departing advice or word to the diaspora, which is very constructive. And ladies and gentlemen, allow me once again, Mr. Henry Kuloba, to also respond to some of the questions and as well give you his departing word or advice. But also for those of you who still have questions, kindly, I will request the Diaspora State House Diaspora Unit Desk to share the email address in the chat so that people can send follow-up questions, but also the feedback, whatever the other questions that they might be having that we have not addressed in the chat. Mr. Kuloba, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you, Sylvia. I went through the chats and most of the questions were addressed in my main presentation. So therefore, I'm going to be very brief on just a few that came up that I had not touched on. There is one that I saw on ex-spouses and their status in an estate of a deceased person, where, for example, you have a man dies, leaves behind a widow, but at the time he died, they had separated. Of course, that is a controversial area because the separated woman usually comes after the death to claim a share as a widow. As you know, there is a difference between separation and divorce. Divorce ends a marriage. So if you are divorced and somebody dies, you can never claim to be a widow. A widow is somebody who was married to the person before death. So at the time of death, you were married people. Now, separation, as you may know, doesn't end a marriage. You still remain married people, but you are basically separated, living separate ways, and so on and so forth. Now, the law of succession says that if you are separated for 2 years at the time of death of somebody, you are not entitled to share. It is controversial because the separated spouse was married, because the marriage was still there by the time of death. But they are saying that no, don't come and claim, because 2 years before the death of this man, you woman, you were not staying together, and so on and so forth. So the law only came in to say that, okay, where it can be proved that the separation was caused by the man. You know, succession law and family law are personal laws. They have emotions in them. It is not like commercial law. It is very personal to you. So they're saying that if the man is the one who caused the separation, because these days men can also separate from the woman, they leave the home and go away. So now the issue is that you shouldn't be punished because you were separated. So the law just brought in exceptions, but the general rule is that when you are separated, you don't. Then 20% are preserved for minors. Somebody raised about it and he said it is a trust. Now, Sylvia, before the law was amended, if me and Sylvia were siblings, but we had a 10-year-old brother or sister, the law was that all of us are the same, we get the same share. Now, on the face of it, that is unfair to the 10-year-old, because why would Sylvia and Henry have the same share with the 10-year-old, yet the 10-year-old has a longer journey? Maybe our parent, before passing on, had educated the two of us and we had finished education, and so why would you give all of them the same? It looked as if equality, but it was not. So the law said that now the 20%, that before you distribute an estate of a deceased person, before you distribute the 20 to the wife or husband, the 75 to the children, the law is saying first remove 20% from the estate. Reserve it for minor children who are below 18 or those who are school going. Then what remains, remember we are dealing with the entire estate, what remains is what is distributed. And these minors come and also benefit on this remaining. In other words, they are being given more to address the mischief of the law before that. So I wanted to explain the 20%. Now they were saying, how do we get it? And so yes, you look at the nature of an estate. An estate differs from one person to another. They are never the same. You can find somebody has died and has left rental units. Now that one is much easier to remove the 20%. We say, no, these rental units in Naguru are going to be reserved for the children because they have to study now from P1 up to university, and the rentals offer some of continuity and permanency of income. Mm-hmm. So you look at an estate by estate. So that's how you get. You don't just say, now if there are no rentals, you can look at, okay, if there is land that can be leased out, for example, we lease it out for 49 years and we get money and ground rent and premium so that it can look after the people who have still a long journey to go. So that was the one on that. Then the diasporans always complain about lawyers charging them a lot of money to process letters of administration. Yes, estate administration is one area where legal professionals and other professionals cash in, actually. That's why we always say you have to be informed. Now, for us, we just open your eyes so that when a lawyer comes to you and says, 5 million to process letters of administration, you say, wait a moment, what is it going to do? Now, that is an empowered person. That is a person empowered by information and knowledge. For example, a petition for letters of administration, court fees is 6,000. 6,000 shillings. That is $2. Okay, less than $2. Now, the biggest expense usually in these letters of administration usually is, for example, adverts in the papers. You all know that when you are going to get letter of administration, they advertise in the papers. Henry is going to be, there's that notice that is advertised in the papers, which goes in the New Vision or Monitor, which are the widest circulating papers in Uganda. Well, between 150 to 250. Because they have added that you now put even the photo of the deceased person for transparency. You put a photo of a deceased person, so that amount has increased. So even if you say 300,000 to cater for advert, now you add on the 6,000. So if somebody comes to you and says, I want 5 million, please, in light of those costs mainly, of course, a lawyer will always need some legal fees, but it can help you in negotiating a fair price. Of course, costs might increase if, for example, family members have differences. Some of them go to court and sue and do this and put caveats on the application and so on, and therefore it escalates legal costs. But I'm talking of a best case scenario that should give you information that actually the actual costs are very low for applying for the terms. So if somebody is going to help you, then they should explain why you should pay 1 million shillings or 2 million shillings. Then there is the challenging of a will. Somebody talked about considering, for example, you don't consider minors in a will, or you don't give them something reasonable. Yes. Now, a will, there is what they call testamentary freedom. Testamentary freedom just means that I am free to deal with my property, give it out to whoever I want in whatever proportion, the way I feel, the way I want. Testamentary freedom. Now, in Uganda, testamentary freedom is subject to limitations. And one of the limitations is where you fail to provide for your minor children, children below 18. It is a responsibility of everyone to look at their children. It is a responsibility of Sylvia, it is a responsibility of Henry to look after their young children. You can never say that I believe this young child of mine seems to be wayward. I'm not going to cater for him or her. So when you don't cater for those minors, they can apply to court through the legal process to vary your will. For example, where you have given your 30-year-old child, because you like him so much, more than your 10-year-old child, the court can vary the share you have given to your 30-year-old and give the minor more because he needs it more than the adult. Basically, that is about challenging wills. Lastly, letters of administration. I'm going to combine the two. Letters of administration take long, yes. Letter of administration may take long depending on the nature of the estate. You can actually, there are some families that are problematic. This one, I will tell you, not all families are the same. And I'm not going to mention names because that would be breach of confidence. But there are certain families which can take 5 years without getting letters of administration. Why? A mother is fighting with a son. A son is fighting a mother over the father's property. They go to court and the case takes 5 years to resolve. Even if they don't go to court, they come to Administrator General's office. We hold meetings after meetings, pleading with the people. Now, you people, you agree. You people are from the same mother. Some people think that it is polygamous families that are problematic, even monogamous one. where there are children of the same mother, same father, but they don't see eye to eye. Now, as Administrator General, you have to pity us because now we can't just listen to one of you. We have to ensure we get some sort of consensus. Now, that may take some time. That may take some time, and unfortunately, it may delay the process of letters of administration. So in wrapping, Sylvia, I want to thank the Diaspora Unit for organizing this webinar. There are so many things I have not actually touched, but because of time, especially, for example, probate sealing, that, for example, our colleague in Czech Republic can get letters of administration in Czech Republic and bring those letters of administration to High Court in Kampala here. They put the seal of the High Court in Kampala, and it works on the property in Kampala without having to go through the process of letters of administration. That's what they call probate resealing. So we want to thank you. We want to say that diasporans are free to open it with the Office of Administrator General, even through a relative here, through a friend, through a lawyer. The file is free of charge. Even a certificate of no objection is free of charge. Thank you very much for listening to us, and good night.
Oh, wow. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Clover, for this wonderful session. It's been a marathon. It's been a marathon, 2.5 good hours. But then as we are closing, I want to sincerely thank all our speakers for the practical guidance you have given us. This has really, really been an amazing, incredible conversation that we have had with you. Also, in the same spirit, let me take the opportunity again to thank my host, Dr. Hilary 𝐔𝐠𝐚. I believe he's now in transit, most likely, for hosting me under the representation of the State House Diaspora, headed by Mr. Bagonza, deputized by Mr. Wabiona Henry. For this wonderful moment, please keep it up. These are the things that we are looking out for. And that being said, also please allow me also to share that we have our next webinar that is June the 10th. I believe the same time, but this time round, it's going to rotate around finances and remittances. We have just we're just ending our land and property, now entering into finance and remittances. But then when you connect the two, I think they want to give you the info. Now that you have known what is happening in the land sector, you're going to learn what is happening in the finance and remittances sector, so that you can make a really, really informed decision when you're going back to buy, you know, to buy land back home. But also as you're sending your money, what information are you looking out for? We're going to have presenters from the Bank of Uganda, and we have Ministry of Finance, as well as the Uganda representative from Uganda Bankers Association. That is June the 10th. In that regards, please allow me appreciate you, the wonderful participants who have tuned in from all different parts of the world, different time zones. You have taken a lot of your good time. I see we still have over 100 participants, you know, on this call, which is an amazing gesture. Please, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your questions. Feel free to submit in your questions. Feel free to disturb the diaspora desk as much as you can to seek this information. They will respond. They will connect you to the right officers. Do not get tired. Do not get discouraged. These webinars are here for us. Join them as we learn more over what we need to learn, but also understanding our systems back home. Let's utilize the opportunity. On behalf of the organizers and all the participants, I want to thank you once again for joining this webinar again. My name is Sylvia Kacho, and it has been my honor to really be your moderator for today's session. I wish you a wonderful day, a wonderful evening, a good morning, a good night, wherever you joined us from, and according to your time zones. My God bless you. See you June the 10th for God and my country.